However, the third, fourth, fifth, etc. largest ones total more than vehicles. Like, let's see here. In fact,
So you're combining the third,
vehicles in
fourth, and fifth.
2024, 500 divided by 421. 500 divided by 421. Vehicles only accounted for 11% of our imports from Canada last year.
So what's the thing that's most imported from Canada then?
Let's look. It looks like oil, mineral fuels,
Unrefined
etc.
oil
is
that we
131 divided
resell
by
to Canada.
432. That accounts for 30% of our imports from
Yeah.
Canada.
Unrefined oil that we resell to Canada.
Okay. So it looks like, yeah, we do that with some of the
Yeah.
oil that we import. Why is this
hmm
relevant?
It's relevant because the tariff, if we have equal tariffs,
Okay, can you just guide me through
when we export,
top to bottom?
okay, I'm trying to. If we import and
I'm
they
still
have
just
a
confused why this
higher,
is relevant.
if they have a higher tariff on us, and then when we export, it's a lower tariff, we're losing money as American citizens.
So we don't get charged for the oil that we export to Canada. Is that it?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, so you're wrong and I'm right.
No.
So Canada does not have an oil tariff on America, and they've never had an oil tariff on America.
Do they have a refined oil tariff on America?
No,
Because refined and unrefined is two different things.
they don't.
So when they export oil to us, there is no tariff on us.
Well, actually, when they export oil to us, yes, they do pay a tariff, or at least like they
No.
did when Donald Trump implemented the Liberation Day tariffs. But now they're on
The,
pause.
the importer is who pays the tariff, not the exporter.
Right.
Yeah.
You just asked me if there's a tariff paid on the export. I didn't specify who it was paid by.
I asked if we pay the tariff.
If we pay what tariff?
I'm gonna kick myself because you're not making sense. So
Matt, I'm just correct me where I'm wrong. Canada does not charge a tariff on the oil we export to them.
no,
Oh, that's wrong?
no, I'm saying there's a tariff on what we import
No.
that we pay for.
So like you're saying that we have a tariff on them, but they don't have a tariff on us.
Oh my god, dude.
Right? That's what you're saying? So the UF is tariffing Canada, but Canada's not tariffing the US. Okay. All right. What is going on today? Like, what the fuck is going on today? I might,
Uh-oh.
I might like end my stream early. I'm
Maybe I'm in it.
unfortunately like not even
I'm in it.
trolling chat.
I'm
Like
in
I
this.
don't, I'm not even trolling. I think I may end early. Kay, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Uh, no, but my girlfriend's birthday's tomorrow. Wish her happy birthday.
What's her name?
Shaylin.
Happy birthday, Salen. Shout out,
Shaylin.
Salen. Oh, wait. Guys, what's her name? I was saying Salen, but I feel like he corrected me there, indicating to me that I was wrong. Y'all got to help me. Shaylin. Happy birthday, Shaylin. I just saw his chat. Happy birthday, Shaylin. Big up to Shaylin. Okay. Happy birthday, Shaylin. Happy early birthday, Shaylin. Shaylin. He corrected it in the chat. He corrected it in the chat. Happy birthday, Shaylin. Happy birthday, quite frankly. Quite frankly, hello, do you support Trump? Oh, it's you. It's been a while, man. You're back. Not paleo. Maybe I just like want to torture myself today. I'm just kidding. Goodbye. Steven. Oh, Steven. Steven really likes hanging out in here. Let me tell you. Steven loves hanging out in here. If you're watching and you want to come up and have a debate, go ahead and drop a MAGA down below in that chat and we'll get you up here. Hello, BB. Do you support Trump? Not here. Where's the MAGA at? Where are they at? Let's go to get KO up on the live. KO's not here. Where's out of the Trump supporters? Let's get Catherine up in the live. Let's get Jay up in the live. Let's get Jordan up in the live. Let's get them all up in the live. All of the Trump supporters, not you, aesthetic. Goodbye. Hello, Jay. Do you support Trump?
Hi, I do. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. Donnie, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I am 18.
Born in what year?
2006.
What month?
April.
April, May, June, July. You would be 19. You got it wrong again, Donnie.
No!
Jay, take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
I just support some of the new way of running the government, kind of a more lean and more stricter side to it.
By lean, you mean consolidating power to one branch?
That's one way of looking at it. I can
Oh,
understand
no.
your perspective
Yeah. One
for
way
sure.
of looking at it is a fascist dictatorial regime. Uh-oh.
No, I don't want to jump straight into jabbing at one another. Let's just keep an open mind and a perspective to different views. I'd like to just say that the government has ballooned into something uncontrollable. I don't know if you see it that way, but I live in California, and the level of government involvement in everyday life is kind of ballooned out of control.
So you don't like a ballooned, uncontrollable government?
I
Donald
don't.
Trump won't even listen to the Supreme Court. Is it
No,
fair to
no,
call him
no,
uncontrollable?
no. I don't. I wouldn't say I don't like government involvement, but the level of government and the way it's scrutinizing its everyday citizens, where I live in particular, California, is out of control. It has become a taxing to death
Oh, like
mechanism.
ICE detaining U.S. citizens, like Hassan, like Chris,
ICE
like everyday
detaining
citizens.
ICE detaining U.S. citizens. I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry.
Hassan Biker, he was detained by ICE in an
Who is
airport.
he?
The largest political streamer alive.
And he was born in the United States,
Yeah.
and he was detained for what?
Suspected of being an undocumented migrant by ICE.
Okay, so he was detained for being suspected of being an undocumented member of society, is what you're
Yep.
saying, right?
Yep.
So when they confirm that he is a U.S. citizen, they will eventually let him go, right?
Yeah. No, they did let him go. He's back to streaming. But I definitely
Okay,
think that this
okay,
is a government
so
overreach into the day-to-day life of American citizens. How can you
okay,
deny that?
so we can agree that they just confirmed that he was a citizen and they released him, right? So
After asking a bunch of very political questions about himself.
yeah, I mean, and that's what they're entitled to do, though. They're entitled to ask questions. I mean, if they're
So
arresting,
I think that this is obvious profiling. B, they detained and questioned him about his political views.
okay,
And then
all right,
C,
so
like you were just arguing that like you don't want government intervention in your life. Okay, that is an obvious reach of government intervention.
okay, when I'm saying government overreach in my life, I'm talking about everyday small business regulation, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like I said,
So if it doesn't impact you, you don't care.
no, I do care. Obviously,
Do
it's
you think
just
that
that.
reducing the effective purchasing power of every American making under $395,000 per year, while also ballooning federal expenditure, is government overreach?
Well, can you repeat that one more time?
Do you think reducing the purchasing power of every American making under $395,000 per year, ballooning government expenditure, and allowing states to legislate on women's access to health care, is that government overreach?
No, I believe that that's first to answer the women's rights, giving that back to the states. That's giving it back to the people of those states to dictate how they want to live in their states, which was how it needs to
That
go.
puts more power into the hands of the government.
No, it gives more power to the people because now the
Okay.
people get to vote on that, right?
Okay.
Because the power is
So
to the
which side of
state,
the Civil War gave more power to the people, the North or the South?
the North.
Oh, but it was the North who wanted to federally protect against giving the power to the people to
Well,
legislate
well,
on
if you're gonna
slavery's legality.
if you're gonna go down that far into the rabbit hole, it was the Democrats who fought to keep slavery.
And if you're going to go that down far into the rabbit hole,
I mean, let's be honest, right?
what did the Republican Party stand for at the time, who fought against slavery?
Well, I mean, that's totally debatable, but there
No,
were,
it's actually not at all. They were a progressive party. And I have a question, sir.
yeah,
Is the Republican Party progressive today?
absolutely, yes, they're very progressive.
They're
I mean,
self-defined as conservative. Where do you think the word conservative comes from?
yes, but their progression is in a conservative matter. Their progression is in a very conservative matter. If you haven't noticed,
Sir, are you a conservative?
uh, I used to be a diehard Democrat, yes, but now I am
Wait,
leaning.
so you think that Democrats are conservatives and liberals are Republicans?
No, I believe that Democrats are so far gone that I don't
No,
even
that's
know
not
how
what
to
I'm
even
just
recognize
getting
them.
incredibly clear. Who flies the Confederate flag today?
Who flies the Confederate flag today? I would say most people in the South do. Yes,
And how do most people in the South vote?
they vote more Republican,
Ah,
but that doesn't define the whole Republican Party. Because I'm a Republican in California, and I don't fly a conservative flag.
you just called the Confederate flag the conservative flag. You unironically just identified the Confederate flag as a symbol of the Republican Party.
No, I didn't. I reassured you that I understand where you're
No,
going
you
with
literally
this.
just called the Confederate the flag of the
No,
conservative
no,
party.
sir, no, sir, I didn't. You asked me a
Yes, you did.
series of
You just called it the
questions.
conservative flag.
Yeah, but you asked me a question and I answered it. I'm not saying that the
You just got
Republican
yourself.
Party.
You just defined the Confederacy as,
Yeah,
as
but I
indicative
mean,
of the symbol of the entire conservative party.
yes, yes, and I get that, but because the Confederates don't even agree with Democrats, and they were Democrats, so it's crazy,
Yeah, once again,
right?
it's because we had a party switch. Also, I don't
Uh,
know if the Democrat Party existed at the time of
okay,
the
so
Civil War.
let me
It could've-
ask you
no,
this.
actually, you don't want
Hang on,
you
hang
don't
on.
want to learn nuance about history, bud.
No. I just want to ask you
So
some
I'm gonna give
questions.
you nuance about history, bud. Are
Okay,
you
let's
ready?
listen to it. Let's go. Let's do it.
So I'm
Come
actually
on.
not sure that the Democratic Party existed at the time of slavery, at the time of American slavery. If
Oh
it
no,
did,
it most certainly did, and they supported keeping slavery.
well, I think it might have been the Whigs or like the preamble for the Democrat Party. But nonetheless, let's just
They
say
were
that the Democrat
Democrats.
Party
They were
did
Democrats.
exist.
They were.
Well, did the
They were.
Democrat Party stand for progression or progressivism or conservatism?
The Democratic Party standed for holding slavery.
That's not what I asked. Did they stand for conservatism of traditional values or progression or progressivism of new values?
I can't answer for that. I wasn't living back then.
I can't answer for that because I know history. They stood for the conservatism of traditional values. So when you tell me that there was this conservative party back in the day and they defended slavery, well, who's the conservative party now? The Republicans.
Well, would you agree with that? Not being conservative isn't all the same. Can you agree with me on that? Like, can you believe that being
But
conservative in one way and being conservative in another way does exist? Can we both agree on that?
all conservative ideologies are right of the political compass. They're right-leaning
Wow.
Republican
So you're really
led
trying to,
ideologies.
so you're really trying to tell me that everything is one way and everything is the other way. There is no.
Inherently speaking, all conservative values would fall to the right of the political spectrum.
So are you calling me as a conservative? Me identifying as a conservative as
You're right-leaning, yeah.
as a as a racist and as a diabolical person? Would you call me
No,
that?
seemingly you're identifying yourself that way. I just shared with you historical fact. Literally, all
No,
I said
no,
was
no,
that there
you're
was a party
saying that
switch,
the
and at the time the
conservative.
Democrat Party.
You're
Sir Jay,
saying
are you
the
gonna listen to me?
conservative.
Are
No,
you
no,
gonna
you're
fucking
saying
listen to
that.
me?
No,
Like I'm sharing history with you, and you're being like a really like annoying person in response to it.
listen,
All that,
listen,
no,
listen.
you're gonna
Let's
listen
not
to me.
go
I'm gonna forcefully
insulting
put you on
each
mute.
other.
No, I'm gonna insult the fuck out of you because you're trying to strawman the fuck out of me. You said that it was
What?
Democrats that defended slavery. Then I
Yes,
shared
they
like
did.
Jay. Then I
They
shared
did.
history. Then I shared history with you. There's
Yes.
a party switch. My evidence of the party flip was at the time Democrats were conservatives and Republicans were progressives. Okay,
Yes.
Republicans are today self-identified as conservatives. Democrats today are self-identified as progressives. So
Okay.
if you want to track the ideas, the
Okay.
ideological underpinning truths of
Okay.
of political movements,
Okay.
it is the case that the Republican Party upholds
Yeah.
ideas that are that are related to a closer degree to the ideas upheld by the Democrats who defended slavery.
So would you say that all conservatives in your book and in your ideology, we are all racist and we are all Confederates, or we are all just this bad group of people. Would you say that?
Nope, not all racists. All okay with racism if you voted for Trump, though.
I did vote for Trump, yes,
Yeah,
twice.
sorry.
So I'm a
Uh,
racist
I,
down with your ideology.
so I mean, I don't think I know enough about you yet to call you racist.
Well,
I do know
ask me
enough
some
about you.
questions.
I do know enough about you to say that you're okay with racism.
How would you come up with that? My wife is half black.
So don't tokenize your wife, and second of all, it's because you support Trump and Trump is racist.
My wife supports Trump and she's half black.
Okay, let's no.
Okay, so
that's
that
called,
just
okay,
destroyed your
like
whole
anti.
argument, and you
What?
seem like a fucking moron now. One and two, my good
Wait,
sir.
do you think that do you think that white people saying the N-word is racist?
Do I think that white people saying the N-word are racist? What does that have to do with anything?
I'll show you.
What does that have to do with anything? We're talking
I'll
about
show
you
you. Show
calling
me.
me a racist because I voted for Trump.
So don't strawman my position. I said
That's
that you're okay with
crazy.
racism, and now answer my
That's just
question.
crazy. That is
The
absolutely
only thing
outrageous.
crazy is that the fact that you're fucking freaking your shit. Now answer my
I'm
question.
not
Do you think that
freaking my shit. It's
do you-
just crazy how
do
you
you think that white people
vocal-
saying the N-word is racist? I'll demonstrate to
That's
you the
totally
relevance.
irrelevant to our
It's not irrelevant at all.
Yes, it is. It's totally irrelevant.
When you
It
answer
is
the question, I will
totally-
demonstrate its relevance.
No, I'm gonna ask you another question.
Okay, no, I'm gonna have you answer my question. If you don't, I'm
No.
gonna assume your answer.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Jay, you're now on mute. Nobody watching the live can hear you. I'm gonna assume that you do think it's racist for white people to say the N-word, unless you correct me in the next 20 seconds. Let's get you unmuted. So I'm gonna assume that you think it's racist, unless you correct me in the next 20 seconds.
Do I think it's racist for someone to call someone the N-word?
Yeah, white people saying the N-word. You have 10
No,
more
I
seconds to
don't.
correct me.
No, I don't. No, I don't think it's racist. No,
Okay, so
I don't
you're
think it's
definitely racist now.
So okay, thank you. So now that we got past that, I'm a racist.
I guess I wasn't expecting that. I guess I really wasn't expecting that at all. Where do I go from here? Oh, I have another example. I'm sorry. Like now I gotta like ramp it up. Unmute, Jay. I have another question because I still want to try to demonstrate this point. Do you think that like calling all black women lazy and entitled is racist?
Once again, you're asking a perspective, dude. That's not up to me to answer that. You know what I
So
mean?
from your perspective, is calling all black women lazy and entitled because they're black women racist?
Once again, that's a figure of opinion. It's not racist, dude. That's just a figure of
What the fuck? Dude, okay,
Yeah.
leave. You don't
Yes.
think it's racist to call all black women lazy and entitled because they're black women?
No, because there's plenty of
Put your
black-
wife on the mic. Put your wife on the mic.
There's plenty of women.
Put your fucking wife on the mic.
There's plenty of black women who
Put
work
your
really
shut the hell
hard.
up. Shut the hell up. Put your wife on the mic.
I don't have to bring my wife to talk.
Go
to
go
a
ask
little
your wife how she
stink-
feels about your belief that it's not racist to call
Dude,
all black women
me-
lazy and entitled because they're black
Me
women.
and my wife have gone over the fact that if a white person calls a person the N-word, I don't think that's racist. I think that's a white person.
So I think that I
really
think that you need to tell her your newest perspective, that you don't think it's racist to call all black women lazy and entitled because they're black women.
I would never even go down that route, because what another black woman does is her business. It is not mine, okay? If she wants to stay at home and feed off the government and do that's
Okay, I'm not even gonna let you talk. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not even gonna let you perpetuate your bullshit. I want you to either affirm or deny. One last chance. Is a racist stereotype saying that every single black woman is lazy and entitled, okay, because they're black women? Is that stereotype racist? Unmute Jay. Dude, what is going on with the guest today? Like literally. Like what the fuck is going on with the guest today? Are you too lazy to find that mute button, white man? Kind of mute that mic because you're too lazy, Mr. White Man. There you go.
Oh,
So
hello.
is that stereotype racist?
Yeah, yes, I could say like, yeah, if you're gonna go and bunch all those people together, yes, that is fucked up. Yeah, I'm gonna
Is
say,
it racist?
yeah, I would say that is fucking
Okay,
racist.
why did you say no earlier?
To what?
Earlier you said it's not racist to call all black women lazy and
I
entitled.
mean, because it's just a fucking mentality, dude. It's like you can't
What
control how
is
people think. Like
what is
that's
what is racism?
for me a form of racism is
No, I don't want it. I want you to define the word racism.
racism for me is like if you wanted to walk into a grocery store and someone telling you because of the color of your skin you can't shop there, or if you
Okay,
walk into a
that's an
restaurant,
example of racism. Now define racism.
or or killing or bringing harm upon
Those are
people.
all examples. Define it.
Define racism is hating a group of people because of how they were born. That's racism for
Okay,
me.
would you say that the word hate there can be applied? However, we could also use the word disparage or hold prejudice against or cause harm to.
Yeah, of course you could. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one reason why a white person saying the N word is racist, because the N word was historically used to dehumanize, systemically dehumanize black
Yeah.
individuals in America to
Now,
justify their enslavement, to justify their rape, to justify their slaughter, to justify treating them as if they were subhuman. It was one tool out
okay.
of a nation-wide large toolbox that was used to target, disparage, and kill, force, enslave, rape, etc. black individuals.
Now,
So the reason why I think it's racist for a white individual to use the N-word is because of the system in which that word has been used historically to further disparage black individuals and is still used today to further disparage black individuals.
I get that, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is a word when when I gave you examples of racism that affects somebody's life. Now, I
Yeah,
don't
the
believe
use of the N-word affects people's lives.
yeah, I don't see like and I have tons of black friends, and if you call
I
them the
stop
N-word,
fucking talking about that, dude. That's so cringe. I get to do whatever I want. I get to treat black people like shit. And at the end of the day, I'll never be racist because
no,
guess
no,
what? There's a
no,
few black people that I consider to be my friends. I get to say whatever I want. I get to say the N word because guess what? I have
I
some
don't
friends that are black.
I
Dude,
don't say
it's
the
called
N word.
tokenization. It's
I
so
don't say I
cringe.
don't say the N word to them. So let's just clarify that right now.
To them?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
say
what about at all?
no. I don't use that word in my.
I'm kicking him just because I want a normal person to debate, and we're just simply not getting that today. Hello, Victor. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I actually do to a point.
Great. 1 second. Sid, thank you for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Let's get 500 Sid W's. Thank you so much. Seriously, Sid. I love you. Sid says, can I beg you not to end early today? I'll literally steal my dad's phone to block Charlie Kirk. No, you don't got to do that. Yeah, we'll be on for all 4 hours of the stream. But like, dude, today's stream is just terrible. Like, these guys fucking suck, dude. I'm perpetually perplexed by how crazy the guests are today. Hey, Victor. So why do you support Trump?
Honestly, man, I just I support him for like when I voted this year, it was very different than like voting every other election. Look, I consider myself a Republican. I don't agree with Trump and the way he handles certain situations. I'll admit that. Like he has a really crappy way about going about things. But what I will say is like, I think the reason why he won is like so much people want change, and I've had this discussion with my friends, and it's just like, I think a lot of people are just tired, like, of the general sense of direction that America's going in. Like, I do feel like we're so divided, and it's not just based off like Democrats and Republicans, but I just think like the beautiful thing about America is also the worst thing about America.
I have a question. What divides America more, fascism or a woman?
You know what? Man, I'll say fascism.
Kind of. This reminds me of that, like what's happening right now, like gaining consciousness in this moment. reminds me of that one Logan Paul clip where he's like, I don't want to sound like a woke liberal, but dude, women have it hard. Anyways. So you're right, Victor. Fascism is going to divide America more than a woman would. Spot on. Why do I say this? Because if you're concerned about the division we've seen in America historically, last couple of years since 2016, which oddly aligned with Trump's first run for presidency, we don't even need to go there because moving forward, seemingly we could agree that Donald Trump and his fascist regime is more divisive for Americans than Kamala Harris would have been.
Right. So my thing is this, like, is it dividing us? For sure, but like, let's just take Trump out of the equation, right? Like, let's just say Trump was out of the equation. This is my opinion, right? The thing that makes America so beautiful is also the thing that like it's kind of like what like it's also what's so negative about it, right? Like when you have so many different cultures and religions and like different people, and and they're all invited to this country, right? We're also
Oh, Donald Trump actually advocated for a ban on all new Muslims coming into America in 2015. And he ended up banning all people from like 12 distinct countries that were that a Muslim majority, because it was ruled that a total ban on all new Muslims coming in was unconstitutional. So if diversity is the strength of this country,
but can we say
Donald
something?
Trump's attack on diversity is a grave weakness.
Right. And look, I'm all for diversity, right? I mean, look, man, I'm a Hispanic man. You know what I'm saying? I live in LA. So, if you've ever been here in LA, you know that there's a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different religions, a bunch of different people of different colors. But what I will say is this, like, you can't have, to extent, can we say this? Like, you think if you go to a Muslim country, and again, if I'm being, if I sound a little, what's the word here? If I don't want to come off as racist or anything, but like, you can't be a Christian in a Muslim nation. You know what I'm saying?
Like, apparently you can't be a Muslim in a Christian nation, according to Trump.
Right. I agree. No. And it's tough because, like,
Also, you could totally. I just want to point it out there. You
Yeah.
could totally be Christian in like quote unquote Muslim nations, like for example, Palestine. In Palestine, there's like Christian churches,
right.
which,
but-
funny enough, the non-Muslim nation of Israel has been attacking and burning down.
Yeah, but going back to what you just said, yeah, you can, but
Also Lebanon, hello.
right. But look, what I'm saying is,
Syria, hello.
you can live in these countries as a Christian, right?
You
But that
could
doesn't-
practice in these countries as a Christian. You could worship in a Christian church in these countries as a Christian.
Right, but to say that there's not going to be some sort of diversity in like, and we're not just talking about Muslims. Like, look, I have nothing.
Ethiopia, Turkey.
Right, I have nothing wrong to say. Like, I love gay people. I have nothing against them. But like,
What the fuck is this coming from?
wait,
Oh no. Continue.
no. What I'm just trying to say is like the diversity aspect of it is like, you can't. Catholics don't really accept, these types, certain types of people because it's against their religion.
Say it. Catholics don't accept gay people.
Well,
There you go.
We'll call it what it is. I mean, I have no issue with it. But yeah, gay people, you know this. I mean, you seem like an educated person, right? So
Right.
how are you? It's going back to the whole point of what I'm trying to say, which is like, the beauty of America is that it's so diverse, but it's also like its weakness, And I know we're going off a little off topic, so let me just kind of tell you why I support Trump. I don't support all his policies. I don't support the way he goes about certain things, but like, I do think it's important to like put America first to some extent, because like, I do feel like it's been going downhill. For you to say like our educational system hasn't been going downhill, for you to say that like we don't rely too much on like, on China to get all our products, most of the stuff I bought is from China, I think most of the stuff that's in your house and maybe even like the mics and stuff that you're using are probably made in China, I like that he's trying to bring manufacturing back here. And I like that, he's trying to like,
Actually, unironically, he's not going to bring manufacturing back here at all. He's actually going to outsource more manufacturing to overseas.
are you talking about the recent tariff thing?
All of his tariffs have been used as a tool to negotiate better trade agreements with other countries, and he's made this very clear. So the inevitable result is like lower barriers and restrictions on trade between America and other countries, which means more production will be done overseas.
Like for instance, the deal that got announced today, right?
Yes, exactly. We will now import more goods from China because it is the case that we have lower tariffs on China and they have lower tariffs on us. Yep.
Okay, but do you think that this deal is better than the deal that's been brokered, say, years ago? I mean, to some extent.
Yeah, the last time we brokered a deal was Trump with his tariffs on China. Biden-Harris administration kept them, so better than the other thing Trump did for sure. It's actually the opposite. And yeah, I agree. But you should disagree because it outsources more manufacturing.
Right, but look, if we were going to do it anyway,
Like the inevitable conclusion of like his dealing with China is actually like decent. China reduced their tariffs from like 30 to 10, and I think we are also sitting at 10. No, from 50 to 20, then we went down to 10 or something like that. And I think that result is good. I don't think that the means to achieve said result justify the outcome. But also, like these should all be things that you don't like because you said that you want more manufacturing in America because of tariffs. Well, Donald Trump has been using these tariffs to achieve better trade agreements, to reduce barriers on trade. So we're actually not going to be forcing more manufacturing inside of America.
Okay, that's valid, and I agree. My thing is like, say there wasn't a deal brokered with China, the point would be to bring manufacturing back, like whether it's the automotive.
But it's not going to do that once again because
not right.
We are reducing our tariffs to other countries. So stop it.
Right. So again, it's not happening. I agree with you. But
so then, what do you like about the Trump administration that is happening?
Okay, let's see. Actually, I kind of a list. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, for sure. Take a look. I need to know for the 2.1 thousand people in the YouTube, 5.2 thousand people in the TikTok. Is it me? Because I feel like everybody I've talked to today has been significantly worse than people that I've spoken to on other days. Is it just me feeling that way? Am I just having a bad day? Am I hungry? It's not me. It's them.
So yeah, no, it's I don't know, man. I just joined the chat, so maybe you are hungry.
Yeah, maybe I am hungry. So what do you like about the Trump admin, sir?
So look, I'm not for open borders. I'm an American citizen. I think last I read, which was like maybe a month ago, the border crossings have like dropped significantly, almost 95%.
A little bit over that.
Okay, so that's look,
that for
I'm
sure.
all for people coming into this country legally.
So I could tell you why that's a bad thing, or at least what caused it and why it's bad. So the reason that we've seen a dramatic decrease in the amount of migration into America, undocumented migration specifically, is not because of a long-term solution. So like what causes like the root cause of undocumented entry is like
and real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. Someone just said your comments. Someone in the comments says that we've never had open borders. Yes, guys, we've never had open borders, but we've never really put emphasis on securing them the same way that this administration is doing. Can we say that?
No, they're not securing the borders.
Okay. So Trump sending the military out when he first got when he first became president for his second term, that wasn't securing the border.
What do you think it means to Can I finish out? Yeah, hey, Victor, I'm about to be mean to you.
Go ahead.
The
man.
reason I'm about to be mean to you is because you've been talking for 5 minutes, okay? Then you finally make a claim that you like his stance on immigration and in the decline of undocumented entry into America. I start responding to that, and then you interrupt me, you derail, and then you ask me a new question.
Again, go ahead, make your point. So my fault for cutting you off, man. Go ahead.
What is the root cause of undocumented entry into America?
I would say illegal border smuggling, like human trafficking.
Yeah, but like human trafficking is not the root
Not
cause
human
of
trafficking,
undocumented
but
entry into America.
illegal.
So what is the ultimate reason individuals decide to enter into America illegally compared to legally?
The fact that the process to get in is a lot harder. It's tough.
Boom! Spot on. Right on the money. You're right. The root cause of undocumented entry is that the legal means of entry into America are unattainable as they take too long or they're too expensive, etc. So in other words, the only way to reduce undocumented entry into America in the long term is to make the processes of legal entry into America better now. Donald Trump isn't doing that. The way he's reducing undocumented migration into America is through short-term solutions and scare tactics, like not giving undocumented migrants constitutional rights, calling them all lunatic, illegal aliens, which has led to surges and rates of hate crimes against them and illegal deportations. Okay? So in other words, everything he's doing, I don't care about its impact because it's not long-term, it's not sustainable, and quite frankly, it's very immoral. And illegal.
Right. So let me ask you something. You think that if we just made it easy first off, let me say that the registration or to apply for citizenship, should that program, whatever that process is, should be fixed. I agree with that. Okay. But if you also make it so easy that everybody gets in, I mean, everybody would get in. So yeah, you're right. Illegal border crossings would decrease. And
Sorry, Victor, I'm cutting you off. I'm really sorry, man. Paleo Steve.
Oh, I'm amazed you actually let me come back up here.
I just have one question, and I'm going to go back to Victor. In the chat, you said that undocumented migrants don't have constitutional protections. Tell me why the Supreme
They
Court...
do not have full constitutional rights. No, they do not.
Oh, so now you
They are not
changed your claim.
They are not legal citizens. They
Now
are
you
not
changed
legal
your claim.
citizens.
So if
No,
undocumented migrants don't have constitutional protections, why did the Supreme Court rule that Abrigo Garcia's deportation was illegal? I thought he didn't have any protections under the law. Why would what they
that's
did to
funny.
him
I
be
don't
illegal?
remember. I don't remember the Supreme Court ruling that. I remember the Supreme Court
Really?
ruling that. Oh, really? I remember the Supreme Court ruling that they had to make preparations to invite him to come back, but they don't have to let him come back in from his own government where
I'm going
he's
to quote
from.
you. I'm going to quote you. I'm going to quote the Supreme Court's decision, word for word, from their website. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Quote, the United States acknowledges that Abrigo Garcia was subject to withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal, end quote.
Where did you get that source from?
From the Supreme Court.
What source did you get that from?
From their ruling on the matter on April
Yeah,
10th.
what source did you look that up from? Who gave that information?
Chief Justice John Roberts, and the decision ruled on April 10th coming from the Supreme Court.
No illegal has constitutional rights other than the right to be
Okay.
heard in a courtroom
So then why did
for their reason to be expunged from the United States.
So then why
they have very few rights.
So then why did the Supreme Court rule his deportation was illegal?
I look.
You're broken.
His
gotcha.
No.
Yeah.
His deportation was legal because he is not an American citizen. First off.
So
secondly,
does any court trump the Supreme Court?
No.
Does the Supreme Court make the ultimate and final interpretation of American law?
The Supreme Court is constitutional law.
Right. And the Supreme Court said...
But in some cases, the Supreme Court will not hear a case and let it go back to the states.
Spot on. But they did hear this one, and they ruled, quote unquote, that Abrigo Garcia's removal to El Salvador was illegal, end quote.
And they said that the Trump administration must facilitate. All facilitate means is if we would like to facilitate him to come back, if you would let him come back.
Hey, Steve, we're not even talking about that.
The president of El Salvador said, we're not
Steve,
bringing him back.
Hey, Steve, we're not even talking about that. We're talking about the fact that you said his deportation was not illegal, and I'm pointing out the fact that the Supreme Court said it was illegal.
I said, no, you're putting words into my mouth. And no, that's not what I said.
Chat, how do we feel about this?
I said illegals do not have constitutional rights as afforded by American citizens.
So you actually did say precisely that his deportation to El Salvador was legal. Your words exactly.
It was legal.
So you've said it again.
How is it not legal?
Okay, everybody, don't forget that he just said it again. It was illegal.
How is it? He was not legal because Tom Homan followed the law.
So
they deported him because Trump You didn't let me finish because Trump said Tren de Aragua and MS-13 are terrorist organizations.
So do you typically like discount like Supreme Court rulings as it determines the legality of things? Because once
It
again,
doesn't matter what the Supreme Court ruled because the government of Venezuela is not the United States.
Hey, Paleo
If they don't
Steve,
want to give him back,
I just
they
want to
don't
clarify.
have to.
Did you just say that Supreme Court rulings don't matter insofar as determining if something is legal or illegal in
I
America?
said it doesn't matter in other countries. The Supreme Court only matters to the United States.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's not affordable to
so
Argentina
can we agree?
or to Venezuela or South
Can
America.
we agree that the Supreme Court ruled that Abrigo Garcia's being deported to El Salvador was ruled as illegal in the United States?
That's irrelevant.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, because you said
if it wasn't irrelevant, then he would be back in the United States.
No, it's relevant because you made the claim that it was legal. I'm making the claim
What Tom
that it is
Homan did
illegal.
at the time of him being deported, what Tom Homan and the Trump administration did was perfectly legal,
Oh,
and that
actually-
was before
actually not true.
the Supreme Court got involved.
Supreme
And
Court.
it was before the lower court's injunctions.
Supreme Court.
So at that time, yes,
Supreme-
it was legal. So yes, I am right.
So actually, the way that rulings from courts work is they're retroactive and apply to the circumstances that are being legislated on. I'll give you an example.
That's your
Are you
interpretation.
ready? No.
That's like saying
No.
that's
This
like
is
curing
the
the
law.
common cold with a bullet.
Are you ready? I could give you an example.
You can give me examples all day long. It still doesn't matter. He was
So,
deported before
do you-
the
do you-
Supreme
do you
Court
know what
ever
the-
made a ruling. So
do you
it was
know-
legal. Tom
do
Homan
you know
was
what the-
perfectly within his rights
Do you know
as
what
the borders are to deport him.
do
He
you
was
you
an
know-
enemy of
hey,
the state.
Do you know what the Brown v. Board decision was?
No, and I don't care because it's not got anything to do with what I said.
It does.
You're
So
using
the Brown
you're
v.
doing
Board.
what you always do. You use hypotheticals
This
to
isn't
suit your
hypothetical.
needs. You got cue cards and you go by those.
This isn't
and
hypothetical.
you've got a certain routine of questioning. That's how you work.
So the Brown v. Board court decision was the court decision made that ruled racial segregation in the schooling system is illegal and unconstitutional. Okay? When this ruling was made, did that mean that racial segregation in the schooling system forth from that ruling was illegal? Or did it also rule that all racial segregation that had occurred before that ruling was also illegal? Or were the schools perfectly within their rights to racially segregate their classrooms?
That hypothetical has nothing to do with him being deported. By the time that Tom Homan and the Trump administration deported him, before the Supreme Court ruled on anything, it was perfectly lawful for them to do what they did. So, no, you're wrong.
So, A, it's not a hypothetical. This is American history.
It is a hypothetical. It doesn't have anything to do with him being deported, does it?
American
What's
history.
racism got to do with being deported?
American history is not hypothetical. And then B, the relevance of this is because you're saying that Tom Homan was in his right to deport Abrigo Garcia until the Supreme Court ruled that he wasn't. Okay? But the Supreme
Under the Trump
Court
administration, yes, he was.
So the Supreme Court ruled that he was not.
That was after the fact. That was after the fact. He's already been incarcerated for several weeks.
So crimes are always legislated on after the crime happens. If I murder somebody today and I go to court tomorrow, what I did today was illegal if the court rules it was illegal. If Tom Homan deports Abrigo Garcia today and the Supreme Court rules it's illegal in a month from now, what Tom Homan did today was illegal.
Did the Supreme Court hold Trump administration in contempt?
So that's being
yes,
adjudicated
that's
by
a
lower
yes or
court.
no. That's a yes or no. Did the Supreme Court hold the Trump administration in contempt for their offer to facilitate?
So they are
yes
not
or no?
holding him in contempt because what facilitation of his return means is being delineated by a lower circuit court. But this is neither here nor there as it relates to my refutation of your claim that Tom Homan's deportation of Abrigo Garcia is illegal. We're debating about if what Tom Homan did was legal or illegal. You're arguing that what he did was legal. I'm arguing that what he did was illegal. My evidence that it was illegal is that the Supreme Court said so. What is your evidence?
Oh, see, we're going back to the same old hypothetical nonsense. It's bullshit.
What do you think a
I
hypothetical
I
is?
wasn't
Wait,
even
slow
discussing
down. What do you
you're
think a
talking about.
hypothetical
It has
is?
nothing. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. The Constitution, affordable to United States.
You said 3 times that his deportation was legal. You're wrong. Admit it. Also, you have no clue what the word hypothetical means.
Happen to have a pocket constitution. Let's read the 14th Amendment. Let's read just a few. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside.
What does
No
the 14th
state.
Amendment have to do
Wait,
with the
let me
legality
finish.
of Abrigo Garcia's
No state.
deportation?
No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges. Where does it say illegals? Does it?
I said.
Where does it say? Where does it
A,
say non-citizens there?
So
Okay.
I'm really confused on what you reading the 14th Amendment has to do with the Supreme Court's ruling. Are you just saying that the Supreme Court was wrong in ruling it's illegal?
No. Well, if you want to go into hypotheticals and opinions,
I'm going to read you a quote. This is from the Supreme Court. I want you to respond to this quote. Quote unquote. The United States acknowledges that the Abrigo Garcia was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. This decision was made unanimously by all 9 judges, and it was authorized by Chief Justice John Roberts on April 10th, 2025. If the Supreme Court disagrees with you on the legality of an action committed inside of the jurisdiction of the United States of America, you're wrong.
did the Supreme Court hold the Trump administration in contempt?
I've already answered that question. It is not relevant.
No, you didn't. I said it was a yes or no, and you didn't do that. You skirted around and gave me all kinds.
They said what he was doing was therefore illegal, and he has to facilitate his return. Not that what he did was therefore illegal, and we're going to hold him in contempt. The answer to your question is no. It doesn't mean that it wasn't illegal, because once again, they said it was illegal. Can you admit that the Supreme Court disagrees with you? Can you admit that?
Did the Trump administration, were they held in contempt of court? You
No.
won't answer yes or no.
The answer is no.
Okay. Guess why that is?
Guess why that is?
Because-
I'm not going to guess. I know why. It's because a lower circuit court is delineating what facilitation of Abrigo Garcia's return looks like. But this doesn't matter. I'm merely trying to
No,
get you
that's
to admit
not
that his
right.
deportation was illegal.
No,
Okay,
that's not
we'll,
right.
we'll debate on that after you admit that his deportation was illegal.
That's not right. At the time,
Okay,
no, it was not illegal.
Can you admit that the Supreme Court disagrees with you?
They were already headed back.
Can you
towards-
admit that the
towards
Supreme
Venezuela.
Court Can you admit that the Supreme Court disagrees with you?
That's a hypothetical. What does
That's-
that have to do?
That's not
Was-
hypothetical.
What? Okay.
They literally
weren't held in
they
contempt.
literally disagree with you in real life. Once again, and I quote, Abrigo Garcia was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. The Supreme Court ruled that Tom Homan, deporting Abrigo Garcia was illegal. That Tom Homan was not within his rights to do so. That's what the Supreme Court said in a decision made on April 10th, 2025. Respond
That's
to what I just
irrelevant.
said.
That's
Wait.
irrelevant.
Okay, so your claim is Tom Homan was well within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia. Abrigo Garcia's deportation was fine and legal, and the fact that the Supreme Court said it was illegal and that Tom Homan was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia is irrelevant. Sir, you can't fix stupid. That the Supreme Court is not irrelevant. Okay? The Supreme Court ruling that you're wrong is not irrelevant at all.
I didn't say the Supreme Court was irrelevant. I said
Yes, you
what
did.
you're trying to say is irrelevant. No, it
What I'm
didn't.
saying,
I said
I'm quoting the Supreme Court. My words are coming from Chief Justice John Roberts. Chief Justice John Roberts said that the United States acknowledges that Abrigo Garcia was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. That's Chief Justice John Roberts speaking, not me.
that's after the fact.
What did that
It was
ruling state?
legal. It was legal for Tom Homan and
The ruling came after the fact, but the ruling was what happened was illegal. He's saying that what happened a month ago was illegal. He's saying that what happened when when Tom Homan deported Abrigo Garcia was illegal. Like literally, read with me. Read through it with me. I'm gonna say 3 words and you're gonna repeat them. The United States, you say it. Say it, Paleo.
what is it you want me to say?
We're going to both repeat Chief Justice's John Roberts words. Okay? We're gonna go 3
Well,
words at a time.
I don't have my PC running
Don't
right
worry.
now. So
I
all
got it
I've
right in front
got
of
you
you.
on
I'll
is my
go
phone.
first. I'll go first. Say the United States.
No, I'm not going to play that game. I'm telling you.
Wait, why?
The
Because it
Trump
disputes what you're saying.
administration. The Trump.
Chief Justice John. Okay, yes or no? Did Chief Justice John Roberts affirm that what Tom Homan did was illegal?
Okay, you keep muting my mic, and
Yes or
I'm
no?
trying my best not. I'm trying my best
Did-
not to talk over
Did
you.
Chief
I'm
Justice
trying to be polite.
Did Chief Justice John Roberts affirm that Tom Homan was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia because Abrigo Garcia's removal to El Salvador was illegal?
It doesn't matter because what they did was before the ruling, and it was legal to the Constitution when the Trump administration deported him. And the Venezuelan government said they weren't going to bring him back home. The reason Trump was not in contempt was because they did facilitate.
Okay.
They followed the law.
Okay,
You
I'm
said
gonna make this one clear.
the Trump
I'm gonna
administration
make this one
earlier
clear.
talking to that other guy.
Sorry, you're back on mute. What you said was wrong there. You're saying that because the ruling came after it happened, they were in their right at their time. Stephen, that's not true. Supreme Court
It is
decisions
true.
are retroactively enforced.
That's debatable. That's
No, it's
debatable
not.
because
It's not.
yes, it is.
No.
It is.
No,
Then why didn't they hold the Trump administration in contempt if
because
it's
it's
not?
down at a lower circuit court. I mean, like, I
No,
mean,
it's not.
the evidence that this was retroactively enforced upon the infraction that they were legislating on. Like, think about it this way. Think about it this way. Here's another good way of thinking about it. Do you remember? Do you remember that kid that like shot people at BLM protest? What was his name? That killed people? Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay. Do you remember Kyle Rittenhouse?
Kyle Rittenhouse was not a BLM protester.
I know he killed the BLM protesters. Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay.
The guy ran towards him, tried to take the rifle away from
Shut
him.
up. I'm not going to do
No,
this.
don't tell me to shut up.
I'm going to tell you to shut
I
up.
don't
if
have to
want
shut up.
Yes, you do. I'll force you to.
I can
could
tell
just
you
mute
to shut up.
No, you can't because you can't mute me, but I can mute you. Who
Well,
holds
that's
the power?
okay. I don't care.
Who holds
You
the
can
power?
still shut up.
Quite frankly, I won't. Think about it this way. When the courts inevitably ruled that what Rittenhouse did was legal, was that ruling retroactively enforced on Rittenhouse's actions on the day?
Another hypothetical that you're trying to
It's-
trap me in.
What's
That
the
I'm not going to play that game
What's a
because
hypothetical?
it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with what I said. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely
Sir.
nothing. You're trying to lead me.
The relevance of this is like me just explaining to you how courts work, man.
I don't have to know how court. I know how
like-
courts work.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. The Supreme
No.
Court. You're trying to tell me. You sat there and
Oh, hey,
contradicted
hey.
yourself.
So if
You said the
Tom,
Supreme
how
Court.
about, I'm gonna ask you
you
an easier
asked
question.
me-
I'm gonna ask you an easier question. If Tom Rittenhouse was within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia, how come the Supreme Court said he was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia? How come?
Did you ask me if the Supreme Court was the law over any other?
No.
court?
Answer. I want you to answer the very specific question I'm asking you. If Tom Homan was within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia, how come the Supreme Court said he wasn't?
Did you not say the Supreme Court rules over any other court?
Answer my
Where
question.
they were the law of the land.
Yeah, they're the law of the
Well,
land.
you
So how
answer
come
my
the law of the
question
land
first.
said that Tom Homan was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia? Read the quote.
No, they didn't.
Did say that. Yes, they did. They said that his removal to El Salvador was
No, it
illegal.
doesn't.
Yeah. They did. They
What-
said that his
what
removal
they
to El
did-
Salvador was illegal. No.
what
This
they
is a quote.
did-
This is a quote. And the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. Yeah,
Doesn't matter. It was already done.
But that meant that Tom Homan wasn't in his rights to do it.
What did the judge say before?
Answer.
What did the judge?
Answer.
What did the lower court federal judge say
Answer.
What did the judge?
Answer. If Tom Homan was within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia, how come the Supreme Court said he wasn't?
Did the lower court's federal judge say before
Dominic,
it
thank
went
you
to
so
the
much for the
Supreme
motorcycle.
Court?
Who cares? It's a lower court.
But that's what you just contradicted yourself again.
How?
The Supreme Court has the law of the land, right?
Oh, you're saying a court
Law of
lower
the
than the
land.
Supreme Court. That's why it doesn't matter.
But the lower courts, what did they say about the illegal Garcia being transported? What did he say?
Why
What did
should
the
I?
judge say?
Why should I give a single shit?
Because
Whatever their
I'm
ruling
gonna make
was,
a
it was
point.
their ruling
Because I'm
was
going to make a point.
their ruling was nullified by the Supreme Court. I have no clue what their ruling was. It doesn't matter because only the Supreme Court's ruling matters. It's overruled.
Why don't you?
Because unironically, it was overruled.
Because you don't know
Dominic,
anything
thank you for the
about
Lily
it
Lily, I
other
appreciate
than
you for the
what
love.
you looked up on the internet.
I don't know anything about it rather than what the Supreme Court said about it. Idiot.
Oh no, I'm not the idiot. You're
Yeah,
the
you are.
idiot. You
You're
don't
the
even
idiot.
know what the
You're the idiot. You're the
federal
idiot.
judge
You're the
said.
idiot. Yeah, why should
No,
I
I'm
care
not
about
the
an
idiot.
overruled ruling?
Because it's part of the law.
No, it's actually not. It's actually not. It was overruled by the Supreme Court. Wrong.
Well, no, the Supreme Court sided with that federal judge, see, because the federal judge said for them to turn the plane back around and bring him back. And they couldn't do it because they were already in international waters.
We're not talking about what follows the fact that it's illegal. We haven't gotten there yet. We're just
No,
talking about
that's
the
not
fact that it
follow.
was
That's
illegal.
prior. That's before.
We're talking about the fact that if it was or was not illegal, if they were within their rights or not within their rights to deport him. They were not within their rights because the Supreme Court said so.
Well, no, it's not illegal because the Venezuela government said that we could not have him back. Which in retrospect,
now you're talking about a whole other
he
circumstance.
would
This
have
guy's
just
in
been-
Venezuelan. He's El Salvadorian. You're talking about another circuit court that legislated on something else. Idiot.
He would be
We're talking about Abrigo Garcia.
deported again if he were brought back.
Okay, none of this matters. I literally all that
But
we're
it
trying to agree
does
on.
matter.
No, it doesn't. You fucking idiot. All that we're trying to agree on, you idiot, is that when Tom Homan deported Abrigo Garcia, you idiot, it was illegal, you idiot. The reason I think it's illegal, you idiot, is because the Supreme Court said it was illegal, you idiot. So, idiot, why don't you go ahead and respond to my facts that I shared with you as an idiot? It should make sense to you that when the Supreme Court says it was illegal, you idiot, that means that it was illegal, you idiot, meaning that Tom Homan was not within his right to deport Abrigo Garcia, you idiot.
Have ammunition. You depend on your web search and your cheat sheet cue
I depend on the
cards
Supreme Court
on
ruling,
your computer
idiot.
screen.
I depend on what the Supreme Court says to determine the legality of something. That's right, idiot. That is
Oh,
what I
but you
do, idiot.
contradicted yourself earlier. You said
was
the
the
lower
contradicting,
courts and
idiot?
then the higher courts, and then no, the lower courts.
Be very clear about my contradiction, idiot.
Oh, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, you
You're
are,
the
idiot.
idiot because
Well, that's your
you
idiot.
don't know facts.
Can you make my
You only
contradiction
know
clear, idiot?
what you can look up on your computer.
When I look up on my computer off of the Supreme, if the Supreme Court website is the fact, you idiot. The fact of the matter is that they ruled it illegal, idiot. Also, you're the one that mentioned the lower courts. you idiot.
Bullshit.
No, I literally.
You get up there on you get up on your pulpit and you use scenarios of gotcha politic questions.
What?
And you use scenarios of hypotheticals. Without those, you have nothing.
My only argument this whole time has been a non-gotcha, non-hypothetical, fucking statement from the Supreme Court. How's a statement from the Supreme Court a hypothetical?
No, what you try to run on the table is hypotheticals. You're asking me all kinds of questions. Well, what about this?
What
about racism?
All that I'm trying to run is like the Supreme Court decision. It's simple. You said that Abrigo Garcia's deportation was illegal. Was legal. Okay, I'm saying that you're wrong. And I'm
It
saying you're
doesn't
wrong
matter
because
if
the
it's
Supreme Court
illegal or
said that you're
not.
wrong.
The Venezuelan government doesn't recognize
Wait, it
America.
does matter if it's legal or illegal. That's what we're debating. Like that's
It,
specifically what I took issue with you saying. Is I like the specific thing that I'm taking issue with you right now is that you said that it was legal.
I said the Trump administration was lawfully and legally within their rights. At the time, Tom
No, they weren't.
Homan was perfect. Yes, they were.
Why does the Supreme Court disagree?
Was there a ruling before they left?
No, there wasn't a ruling before they left. The ruling that it was
There
illegal
you
came after
go.
the fact.
There you go.
That doesn't mean that it was lawful at the time. Just like racial segregation in schools was not lawful until the ruling was made. Like you understand that what you're saying is that like at one point that it was legal, like racial segregation in schools was legal. Actually, no, it was always illegal. Okay, it just took a civil court case to make that determination. That's just the way that the law works. Like that's why, like why, like when they say it like in clear text on the ruling. I want to clarify that they say that his removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. Like, okay, if it was legal, how come they said it was illegal? Like seriously, are you arguing that Abrigo Garcia's removal to El Salvador was legal?
Yeah, he's a convicted terrorist.
Oh, okay. So the Supreme Court said that, and I quote, the removal to El Salvador was illegal. It can't get any more clear than that. How could it get more clear than that? It can't.
The Supreme Court and the United States government can't dictate what Venezuelan government can or cannot do.
We're not
They're a
talking
different
about
government all of
Venezuelan
their
law. We're
own.
talking about American law.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it
trumps
does.
American
Wait.
law.
Wait.
No pun intended.
There it comes. Mask off.
Yeah, they don't have to
There
return
it
him
comes.
because
There it comes.
don't
There it comes.
recognize-
There it comes.
they
There it
don't
comes. There
recognize
it goes.
American
There it is. There it
judicial
is,
law.
everybody. There it is, everybody. You follow Trump's law. You don't follow the judicial law.
No,
You
you
don't
just
follow
missed
the
what I
court's
said.
law. You
I
don't
said-
follow the Supreme Court's law. You follow Trump's law. If Trump says something, it's legal. It's legal.
No,
It doesn't
you
matter
you
if the Supreme Court
misunderstood what I
calls it
said.
illegal.
I said Venezuelan government trumps U.S. law.
Venezuela has nothing to do with the breeder. He's not even from it. He's from fucking El Salvador. What are you talking about?
Okay,
Listen.
well, El Salvador. Excuse me, I misspoke. El Salvador.
So I have a question. You said that his removal to El Salvador is legal. Why does the Supreme Court disagree with you?
That South American government trumps American government. That's what I meant. Even though I misspoke.
What do you
Okay,
mean?
it's El Salvador.
No?
It's still their government. They
Wait, you
have
think that El Salvador gets to determine what's legal or illegal for Trump to do? That's not true.
No, they get to decide what's legal or illegal with their own citizens.
Right,
which he
right.
was one.
Exactly. So, but we're talking about what Tom Homan and Trump did. So under
They
which
were
countries-
perfectly within their rights to do what they did.
Okay.
If they weren't,
But
then they would have been stopped before they did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The lower courts would have stopped him before. And then they would have had to have.
That's not true. Wait, so you're a cult
It
member. Do you
is
think-
true.
Did Biden steal 2020?
That has nothing to do with what we're talking
It
about.
does. It does.
And I'm not
It
going to
does.
follow that.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You definitely believe that. right?
How? How does it?
Oh,
How does
because
deportation
guess what?
deal with Biden
Because
in
guess
the
what,
2020
Paleo?
election?
Biden stole the 2020 election from Trump, and he was perfectly within his rights to do so because the lower courts didn't stop him.
That has nothing. That's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with deportation, legal or illegal. Nothing. And it's not the same thing.
It is. He was perfectly within his
Supreme-
rights. He was perfectly within his rights to steal it from Trump because the lower courts didn't stop him.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Do you
And it's a
disagree
different
with me?
scenario, and it's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I gotta kick him. Chad, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually like, I need to get off now. And if I don't get off now, like, I won't go live tomorrow. I'm actually like torturing myself. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know that I'm like talking really chill and really calm. I gotta go. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is too much to take. But before I do, RS, thank you so much for the $20 super chat over on YouTube. I do really appreciate that. Everybody, please show some love to RS down below in that chat. As well as Sydney, thank you for the 10. And Noah, thank you so much for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate that, Noah. That's so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. Noah, everyone, I want to see 500 Noah W's down below in that chat right now for the $50 donation. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so much. as well as I believe that there's a handful of other people over on PayPal and Venmo. Linda, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal, stating that I had to give you a second donation for hanging in there for so long. Yeah, today was terrible. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Today was sucked. Thank you for the love, Linda. And then as well as Kay, thank you so much for the $20 donation over on PayPal, saying, quote unquote, I'm not your therapist, end quote. Thank you for slapping down these impotent men callers. Yeah, man, these people are really bad today. I really appreciate you for the $20 donation. That's incredibly kind of you. As well as Michelle, thank you for the $20 on Venmo, saying, how dare you depend on facts. I'll send another $20 if you agree to never let Paleo Steve back up. Michelle, you got it. You got it. I agree to never let Steve back up on the live. You win. Absolutely. Thank you for the $20 donation. Elena with a $20 donation as well, saying, Maga did not send their best today. My head hurts, and I'm guessing yours does too. So here's money to buy you a drink after this. You know what? I'm going to actually use that money to buy a drink. Thank you for helping me determine what I want to use my evening for. W. Elena. W. Elena. Oh, with a $5 saying, Jesus Christ, America's a failed state. Given the sample size of your fucking guest today, I'm going back to Ukraine because I'd rather get shot through the head than listen to more of these morons. For those curious, O is Ukrainian. I want to make that very clear. O is Ukrainian. I'll make that very clear. O is from Ukraine, grew up in Ukraine. Thought I'd make that one clear. Damn O. Brooklyn, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. That is incredibly kind. That is crazy work. I gotta say, O, that is probably the craziest donation message I've ever read. Olena. Megan, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Megan. Everybody, please show some love to Megan down below in that comment section. That's incredibly kind of you, Megan. Megan says, thanks for putting up with so much MAGA crap. You rock. Megan, you're the best, dude. Thank you so much for the love. And this is an hour ago, Erica with the $20, saying, my wife now loves listening to your live streams along with me. We are screaming at the phone like it's our version of sports. I'm still backed up on my other pods. We love you, Dean. Thanks for all the knowledge. Dude, good to have you in here, Eric. I see you in here all the time. Thank you for the $20. As well as Tas with the 20 saying, keep fighting the good fight. Thank you so much for the love, Tas. That is Small Cheeks on TikTok. You guys are so incredibly kind. I appreciate everyone so much. As well as, let's see here, Christy, thank you so much for the $50. Saying, for the brain cells you lost on Paleo's Gotcha. Oh, dude, I lost a lot of brain cells there. I'm not going to lie. Thank you for the love, Christy. Huge shout out, Christy, okay? Huge shout out, fucking Christy, okay? Let's get that one clear. As well as Michelle with the $20 saying, thank you, Michelle. I love you. Thank you, Christy, Michelle. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome sauce, dude. As well, okay, we got a couple more. Shen with a $20 super chat on YouTube saying add Paleo perm block. Yeah, that guy's never coming back. Shout out Shannon. Oh my god, Sid with a $300 super chat on YouTube saying thanks for showing up today. Sorry it was awful. Sid, dude, I don't even know how to respond to that. That's insane. Are you joking? No, you're obviously you're not joking. I don't know why I say that. Everybody, show some love to Sid for the $300 donation on YouTube Super Chat. Oh my God. Thank you, Sid. That's incredibly kind of you. Shout out Sid in the chat. Shout out Sid in the chat. SYD. Oh, love Sid here. It's incredibly kind. Wow. All right. Show some love to Sid. We are going to go ahead and end the stream for the day. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not feeling too good tonight. I'm going to go get a drink. Non-alcoholic one, by the way. Make that one clear. Get some grape juice. Okay? All right? Get some grape juice. Make a Godfather. Replace the scotch with apple juice and the amaretto with some vanilla syrup. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna get a non-alcoholic drink because I'm below the legal drinking age. That's right. See you tomorrow. I love you guys. Peace out and take care. Oh, one last thing. Parker's gonna come back a different man. Can't tell y'all why. Can't tell y'all how. I can't tell you guys what I'm referring to. Parker's a changed man. Parker's a changed man. He's a changed man. Let me tell you. Big news. Big news. Changed man he is. Oh, another thing. I'm terrible. You'll probably see him soon. Hopefully.